One. And we're live here at Diggs Live. And with me today is my good friend, Marguerite, and I can't say your last name to save my soul.
It's
That's
fine.
right. Nobody else knows how to say it either.
Exactly. It's not a
Yeah.
thing.
It's not a thing? Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that you don't have issues around that. So my good friend Marguerite, she lives in Tacoma, Washington, which is kind of like to Seattle, like Glendale is to Los Angeles. Tacoma is its own city. It's got cool like everything, but it is within a sort of longish commute distance to Seattle, and lots of people who are getting priced out of Seattle are moving to Tacoma. I had the good fortune of visiting to Tacoma in November of last year. Theoretically, a rainy season, a time when us Californians should be unhappy. And I was super duper happy there, loved the place. So I thought I'd bring Marguerite on to help us answer the question of, I'd love to sell my Glendale home, but where the heck would I go? So, Marguerite, really happy to have you here on Diggs Live. So, we were kind of reviewing this before the show, but here's what I like to do. I'm going to ask you questions that cannot be easily answered by the Googles, you being a resident and all. Yes? Are you excited?
I am.
First of all, tell us a little bit about like you and not your sign. More like, why are you even qualified to even answer these questions? Are you a real estate agent or what? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a real estate agent. I've been a real estate agent. I'm almost at 13 years and always here in Tacoma and Pierce County. So I live downtown in downtown Tacoma. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. I don't really go anywhere else unless I leave the state entirely. So I think I know a lot
about
the country. Yeah, or the country,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, this is my place, and I know a lot about it. I have a podcast all about Tacoma. I have a website. I have a couple of websites all about Tacoma. I guess I'm like thinking about my resume here, like what qualifies me to talk about this? I eat out a lot.
Right. Actually, I'm going to put it in here, Tacoma.com. Marguerite has this great website called movetotacoma.com. I just stuck that on the screen for y'all. And so that you can see that and look her up, and we'll give you some more ways to get in touch with Marguerite if you want to explore Tacoma a little bit with her. Her whole agenda, actually, just like I want to help you guys move away from Glendale. Not that I don't love y'all. I do. I love y'all. But I know some people want to cash in on our prices. And Marguerite has done an amazing job of telling people why they ought to move to Tacoma. So let's kind of jump into that. So the things that I wanted to ask you are the things that are not easily answered by our good friends Zillow or Realtor.com. If I were a, middle-aged, reasonably well-educated, maybe I'm a professional, I'm kind of middle income, maybe middle to highish income. And I'm currently living in, let's just say, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot house, in Glendale. What would that lifestyle, what would that house cost in Tacoma? Ish.
Well, Tacoma, I mean, I've only been to Glendale once, but
yes, to see me. Thank you.
Glendale is a little bit different than Tacoma. I mean, Tacoma is, a city by the water. So we're on the Puget Sound. We've got the tall buildings. We have really old housing stock. And what I remember about Glendale is you guys have
really old. Wait, when you say really old, you're talking like what year-ish are these houses built?
100 years old. Yeah, like a lot of craftsman homes, Victorian.
Okay.
I think of Glendale a little more like
1900s.
Yeah, like early 1900s, and some have been fixed up, some haven't. We have some nearby suburban towns that have, maybe the split levels or the mid-century stuff or the brand new.
We don't have too much of that.
Yeah, so like
we don't have too much of that either.
Knowing that if you move to Tacoma and you get a 3-2 with a 2-car garage, you're probably looking at, a 100-year-old house. Let's say it's been remodeled and fixed up with a 2-car detached garage, maybe built later in time, and something like that. In a neighborhood that would be like near the water and close to downtown, something like the North End or Central would probably cost you between $300,000 and $450,000.
Really?
Yes. So
All
I've
fixed
had
up.
some experience with. I can think of a client who called and said, you know, I'm pending on my house in California. It wasn't Glendale. I can't remember where it was. I think it was in LA. And he was selling for 1.7 million. It was a 2,200 square foot house. And he ended up buying a beautiful restored view home here in one of our, you know, waterfront neighborhoods in this 5 minutes from downtown, 5 minutes from the freeway. And he got that for $650,000. And he used the rest of the money that he made on that sale to start investing in real estate and bought several rental properties that he fixed up and flipped. And now he's become a realtor. But that's something that you can do here. You know, I think one little caveat I'd like to give is like Tacoma is very different than California. I mean, there's the obvious difference that our weather is different. But also,
although I was there in November and it was sunshiny and beautiful.
It does happen. It's a little bit of a secret, but that does happen. It's a very real place. Like it's a place that's becoming something. And I think that's an important thing, like mindset wise. I have had some Californians who, you know, buy something outright and rent it in Tacoma and just don't feel the Tacoma vibe. Like they invest in Tacoma without moving here. And I think that sometimes is the best fit. But I think if you're a person who's interested in having an impact and becoming involved in helping create what a place becomes, there's still an opportunity for that here. We're not cooked, you know, we're still kind of becoming.
Okay, so that's cool. So your cool kid circles have not been closed off. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, and I think that's one of the most appealing things about Tacoma is if you show up here and you want to participate in politics, in the arts, no one's going to shut you out. You know, like we don't have that cliquey sort of, we need people to do the work here. So
let's talk about the people who live in Tacoma. Are you guys in general, I'm sure there's all kinds of people there, but in general, are you kind of more on the liberal side, more on the conservative side? Are you guys artistic? Are you guys all brainiacs? I mean, what kind of is the prevailing vibe in Tacoma?
Well, historically, Tacoma's always been like a working class city. We're a port city. Our county is pretty red and our city is pretty blue. But when the experience of living here is one of like not being in a bubble, like Tacoma or Washington state itself is a blue state, but Tacoma is like, I always say this about it. It's like a real place. So you're going to meet people who are different than you. You're going to meet people who think differently than you. Like we're always kind of trying to figure out, it's not like someone puts forth, you know, a $15 minimum wage and it just rolls out with no problem. You know, like we had a huge debate about it and like ended up with a $12 minimum wage, you know, like that's kind of the city that we are. And, you know, like there's always a lot of, I mean, there's activism, there's artists. I mean, I think one of the things that makes it so appealing for artists here is that we have, you know, pretty affordable housing costs compared to other cities in the region. And then we also have pretty affordable commercial space, although that is starting to change. So we've had a lot of musicians relocate here from Seattle. We have startups relocate here. We have, you know, a lot of the big tech is up in Seattle. So Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, they're all, and some people commute. But what we're beginning to get is some of the people who've kind of cut their teeth at those companies wanting to go out on their own with their own stuff and coming down here to find more affordable space and affordable housing for the people that work for them. So it's something that's just beginning to happen, but it's kind of exciting.
Okay. So it sounds like you have a burgeoning culture of tech people and people who are not so much the working class roots of Tacoma.
Right. And I mean, it's not like everybody in Tacoma, like, you know, wields a hammer. Like we've always had like kinds of people, but it's more about the vibe. This is not a pretentious city. Like I went to a city actually not very far from here yesterday with one of my clients and we were having lunch and we were walking back and I said hi to the person that we passed on the walking path. And she was like, hi. And we kept walking and he goes, you know, they don't do that here, right? Like it's something that you kind of get in the habit of being in a city that's a little bit more accessible and a little bit more real. And that's just kind of how it is. And my clients who move here from Seattle are always like, oh my God, everybody's talking to me. Like everybody's so friendly. And I'm like, it's chill. Like that's just like, it's not the Real Housewives. You know, I had a client that was like, where do I shop? You know, if you want to be like picking up your Hermes bags and your Louis scarves, you're going to have to drive about an hour and a half for that.
Okay, so tell me what people, so a Californian such as myself, who, you know, when it rains, we freak out because we don't know what to do with that. So what do you guys do? You know, like, what is your lifestyle like? What happens? I mean, if it's raining all the time, do you guys like hunker down in your living rooms and read a book? Do you knit all day long, which would be cool? But, you know, I mean, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I think culturally, like, we have some of the best coffee in the world coming from from our region. You know, we have
Sure.
some of the best beer ever in Tacoma, like craft beer and all of that sort of thing. So I think we drink.
I'm gonna learn how to drink beer someday, so I can try some of that. God is my witness. I'm gonna try to do that. Really. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know any other way. I've grown up here, you know, like right now we're having a gorgeous, amazing sunny week, and it's actually a little paralyzing. Like, I don't know how people who have this weather all year long get anything done. Like, you know, I mean, I think
So
what I love,
you guys work all the time because it's raining? What do you do?
like, I mean, you know, there's all kinds of things to do indoors and even outdoors. I think you just kind of learn that the rain doesn't melt you. Like, you know, people in the Pacific Northwest go hiking in the rain. We don't have, like, it's not like if you've ever been to like Texas or places where it like monsoons, that's pretty unusual here. Our rain is not very invasive. I'm not the kind of person that uses an umbrella in the rain, for example. Like, I never have.
Okay.
Most Washingtonians are cultural, like, they don't really use umbrellas. Like, we have like maybe a raincoat, or we just like live our lives. Like, it's just something that we don't really think about that much. And I'm not exactly sure how to explain it to a person who's used to perpetual sun, except to say
Yes.
that if one thing I do appreciate about is seasons. Like, we have all four. So we have the fall and the foliage. We have the winter, although our winter is not very severe. We get maybe snow twice a year. And everything shuts down. We like freak out with like this much snow. It's like over, which is fun. And then, you know, we have our rainy spring and then hopefully a good summer. But like, I experience that as sort of like the changing of time and the cycles of life. Like, I'm not the kind of person that wants to live in perpetual summer. Like, I need to be reminded of change and growth and all of that. So if that appeals to you, you might like it here.
Those of us who are native, we don't know if it appeals to us because we have no idea what the hell you're talking about. I mean, no freaking concept. Okay, so
if you're moving from Glendale to Tacoma, that is a pretty striking life change. I mean, you might just like get an Airbnb for 3 or 4 weeks in November and see if you can hang, because that's pretty much the hardest time, either November or February. Like, that's our dark days.
Okay. Yeah. Well, like I said, I was there in November and I thought it was stunning. I've never seen so many beautiful neighborhoods, so many beautiful trees. It was stunning. And then going across the water to Vashon Island to visit Jeff and Mark's house was, it's just the natural beauty in your town is amazing. And the houses. I'm sorry?
I said, we've got that volcano.
Oh yeah, that Mount Elena. Well, we were taking pictures of that. That was pretty awesome as well. Okay, so talk to me about things like, I mean, do you guys have much? You guys have a music culture, a theater culture?
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm like to rattle off the things, you know, we have 45 miles of public waterfront in Tacoma. It's very unusual and very cool. Our parks are incredible. They're funded separately from the city budget. They have their own taxing situation. So they're beautiful, well-funded, and in almost every neighborhood in the city, you can walk to a park. So sometimes people will say, it's just really important to me that I have some green space to go to. And I'm like, I'm not even worried about you. Like, we have incredible parks. We have the second highest number of museums per capita in the country after Washington.
Okay.
So we have the Tacoma Art Museum. We have a glass museum. Dale Shuhuli is from Tacoma, and there's a whole museum devoted to glass art, and there's tons of glass art here in Tacoma. We have the Washington State History Museum located in Tacoma. We have America's Car Museum in Tacoma. We have all these, like, we have a manuscript museum. Like, there's a museum for every moment. We have, I live in the theater district, so we have several historic theaters that have all different kinds of performances. We have a symphony, we have a ballet, we have all the stuff. You know, I mean, it's, of course, you know, we're not a city of 2 million people, so Hamilton's not coming to Tacoma, but but we have, you know, we have all the other stuff. Lady Gaga came, Britney Spears came, Def Leppard came.
We are getting Hamilton at the Pantages, I believe, in the fall. So everybody's looking forward to that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, you can come down to LA.
But Seattle gets Hamilton. You can go visit Hamilton.
Okay. Awesome. So the Californians, like, 'cause I know a lot of Californians are coming to Tacoma and the Pacific Northwest in general. What are you finding people doing? Are they mostly people who have cashed out and they're retired now in the area, or are they coming up there and starting businesses, or, you know, what are you seeing up there?
All of the above. I mean, I certainly have calls all the time from people that just want to put their money somewhere where they can get a little bit more for it. I had a woman who had gotten married, sold her condo, moved in with her new husband, and had, you know, $300,000 of cash. You know, she was able to get a really nice rental for that, like outright, have it managed. She came to see it once, met her after it was all over and done. You know, like, that's certainly something that people do. There are people who send their kids to college here, to either the University of Puget Sound or to Pacific Lutheran University, and then buy, you know, multiplexes and, you know, put their kid in one, rent out the rest, you know, do things like that. I mean, there are plenty of people who, I don't know if it's the weather or just because California is really great, have a very hands-off approach to investing in Tacoma real estate. But for the people who move here, it is just all over the map. We have people who relocate from the Navy and from the military, really common. People coming from San Diego and other parts of California. And, you know, I can think of people who've started businesses. I can think of people who've gotten jobs. I don't think there's one narrative.
So if someone wanted to just, you know, up and move there and move their entire lives, what's the healthcare like? What's the transportation systems like?
We have fantastic hospitals, and lots of them right here in the downtown core. And actually, I mean, pretty much within easy access anywhere in the county, unless you go pretty far out. So I mean, like, the hospitals are high quality, and there's lots of them. The transportation is getting better. We just passed an initiative to create light rail from Seattle to Tacoma, although that'll take, you know, a decade or two to get all done. In the meantime, we have heavy rail. We have a train that goes from Tacoma to Seattle a few times a day. We have buses that go every 20 minutes. We have light rail within the city that's being expanded, and that's kind of neat. Right now it's free. Pretty soon it's probably going to start costing $1 or something. But, like, I mean, we're doing
a whole $1.
I know, big time.
Right. I mean, I Ubered all over Seattle, Tacoma when I was there, and it seemed very inexpensive to get to wherever I wanted to get.
Well, and that's funny. Whenever I go to California and I Uber, like, I'll Uber, like, you know, 2 or 3 miles, and it'll be like a $10 fare, and they'll be so pissed at me. And, like, in Tacoma, like, I Uber like 10 blocks, and they're like, "Have a great day." Like, we definitely, I've Ubered all over the world, and we have the friendliest, chillest Uber and Lyft drivers.
You do. I met some of the best people when I was Ubering around Tacoma. It was awesome.
I almost feel like if I have to go to the airport or something, they get a little grumpy. It's like they don't want to drive that far.
And how far is SeaTac from Tacoma?
It's about a 45-minute drive. So, you know, if you Uber or you take a cab, it's, you know, somewhere between $30 and $60, depending on the quality and the size of the car. But, you know,
yeah, that's about the same as it is from Glendale to LAX. So not bad at all. Not bad at all. So your lifestyle of being able to just jet out to wherever, Hawaii, Monaco, wherever it is y'all want to go, that would be an easy thing to do. Okay, awesome.
We're not LAX, but we have a lot of direct flights. So a lot of direct flights to Asia, to Europe. You know, it's a pretty central place compared to some places in the country.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is super awesome. Oh, one other thing that I did want to ask you. If one wanted to just come up to Tacoma and maybe try it out for a little while, what's the rental market like there? You got good inventory, bad inventory? What's it like?
Really low inventory for traditional rentals right now. We're actually one of the fastest rising rental markets in the country with Seattle. We kind of go back and forth, but they're comparatively low. I mean, you can get, like, I live in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath loft right downtown with a parking space, and it's $1,800 a month. I think I'm getting a pretty good deal, but I mean, that's definitely lower than most places. Right. the challenge is just finding something. And if you want to rent an actual house, and if you have, God forbid, you have pets, like it can be very competitive. But for short-term rentals, I think especially if you're comparing the pricing, short-term rentals tend to be more expensive than regular rentals. But for probably price is what you're paying in California, you could go furnished month to month here, try out a few different neighborhoods, try out a few different communities and figure out if you can handle the rain. I mean, that's really my best advice is come and feel it out. I would also, selfishly, I would recommend listening to the podcast that I've created, movetotacoma.com. We don't talk about real estate much on there. There are a couple episodes that talk about it a little bit technically, but for the most part, it's all about the arts, the politics, the neighborhoods, like the community that itself. And if you're vibing on the kind of people that you're hearing interviewed and the kind of stuff we're talking about that's important to us, you might be a good fit. Check it out. We also have a neighborhood guide on the movetotacoma.com website.
Just an end-to-end, anything you need to know about moving to Tacoma.
We try to make it easy for you.
.com, right? Yeah, you're my hero when it comes to attracting people to a place. We've got a different situation here in Glendale. We really need to free up a little bit of housing space for the families who are wanting to move up, start their lives, get into starter homes. There are none available in Glendale. So for those of you who would like to I just seek out something new. I'm going to be doing this every Thursday afternoon, talking to my pals across the country. Just give you a little bit of a taste of what life is like, something beyond what Google can tell you. Because these are my peeps, and these are people who know their areas, they know the people, they know the life. And more to the point, almost all of them are real estate agents who have dealt with Californians moving out of California. They know what you guys want to know, what you need to know to find out if this is a place at least worth exploring. Marguerite, is there anything else that I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I think you really.
What's your sign? No, just kidding.
I'm a Virgo, but I'm on a Libra cusp, so I'm super organized. Also, super in my feelings all the time.
I'm super organized, but I'm a material individual. We won't go there. Anyway, well, super cool. Again, if you want to, get in touch with Marguerite, Move to Tacoma is really the best place to start. There's actually a number of people that I have met in the Pacific Northwest, and I know that's a popular place for Californians to explore. So this won't be the first guest that we have from the area, but maybe the most resources, at least online, right?
I think some of our peers in the Northwest have a lot of really great neighborhood guides. I think you might be excited by what you find.
There's a lot. I think that people can really explore it. So, super excited to have you on. Thank you so much.
You
can't wait till we see each other again. All right, like August, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Okay. That's it for now. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. We'll talk with you guys later. Bye. Okay, wait. Has it ended? End live. There we go.